How many of us self-sabotage because we don't want to do this thing unless we're the best at it? Unless I'm the best podcaster or YouTuber or basketball player, I'm not going to do it, right? Like that can be such a common mind story for us. And what about doing things just because they bring you joy? That always comes back to that for me. Hello, my loves, and welcome back to my channel and another vlogtober video. I hope you've been enjoying these videos just as much as I have enjoyed creating them. It has been so fun expressing my love for this season, for this month, all things magical and spooky. We are continuing that today as we talk about some things that I am letting go for Scorpio season. So if you didn't know, I'm a Scorpio. My birthday is October 26th, and I have recently, in the last few years, loved exploring the themes of the zodiac seasons. I actually did a yoga flow for every season a few years ago. So if you're interested, go check them out. I started with Scorpio season, and Scorpio season is all about letting things go. Let me put my coffee down real quick. Do we love this mug? Love, love, love this mug from Target. This is the only mug I've gotten this year, shockingly. Okay, that may or may not be true, but I saw this one at Target. Love vampires. He's so cute. So let me put him down real quick. So a major theme of Scorpio season is letting things go, shedding things, quitting things, you may say, as I titled this video. And just like the Scorpio sheds its shell as it's growing, that's what a lot of insects do, is they have to shed their shell as they grow. And as you continue to grow, you have to let things go. That is what the trees and plants are doing. They are dying off. They are letting things go. What can you quit, let die, metaphorically, or let go of in your life? So I'm going to share some things that I'm letting go of in this Scorpio season in hopes that it inspires you to come up with your own list. Maybe you'll share some of the same things. Maybe you'll have different things. I actually filmed a video like this 3 years ago. I'll link it below if you're curious on what I was letting go of 2 years ago, because we are always changing and evolving. And just know that that is something that you can celebrate. To let things go is such a beautiful thing. And you don't have to do it just in Scorpio season. You could do it with the full moon, with the new moon. You can do it anytime that it feels right to you. But I love, love, love leveraging the themes of the season because it just feels so aligning for me. All right, so let's talk about the first thing that I am letting go of, and that is certain labels and identities. Now, I did just have a whole video on an identity that I have been loving this season of life, and that is the word witch. But there are some other identities that just aren't aligning with me as much anymore, and I'm letting go of them. It doesn't mean that I don't still have certain aspects of that identity in my life, but I'm not like saying I am this and like being all or nothing. I can be such an all or nothing person. Let me know if you relate. Maybe that does have to do with my sun sign of Scorpio or something else in my chart, but I can definitely be an all or nothing person. So a few years ago, after watching the second Avatar movie, I was like, you know what? I've been feeling the call for a long time. I am going to stop eating meat. And I didn't really eat meat, like just a handful of times. For almost a year, I didn't eat meat. And recently, I've been incorporating it back in due to lots of different factors. And I feel like there are so many things I could say about this. I'm sure there are so many things that other people could say about it that either eat meat or don't eat meat. I think what it boils down to is that we are all so unique, and each season is unique. And maybe you go through seasons where you don't eat as much meat, and you go through seasons where you need more meat. I still feel so much compassion towards animals. I don't want to harm any animals. I realize that is what I'm doing. Oh, this is such a bigger conversation than this video. What I'm trying to say is I'm letting go of the title of being a vegetarian or plant-based. I still don't really crave meat. Like that isn't my go-to meal, but I will eat things that have meat in them. And what is interesting is this past year that I wasn't eating meat, I had so many sinus infections, and I haven't had any since I've started eating meat again. I don't know how those could be related. Maybe you may have some insights you want to leave down in the comments. I feel like this is such a can of worms I'm opening up, but I feel like those two things might have been connected. And I still don't eat a ton of meat. I still like to eat mostly plant-based, whole foods, organic. But again, it's just like sometimes that brings more stress than it's worth. Of course, we want to lean towards those, non-processed foods, but like we're human and we live in a world with a lot of tasty things. So just like don't beat yourself up so much if you like have something that's processed or have something that does have a little bit of meat in it. Like just do the best you can. What I think is so harmful to the animal industry is that we have such extremes. Like There's literally meat in every single dish in most restaurants. Like, can we have some more plant-based options? Can you have like a meatless day? Definitely getting on a tangent here. I eat what my body is craving and wanting, and that supports me. And I feel like I've made so much progress in terms of the way I look at food and how it nourishes me. It makes me think of a podcast episode I did about a year ago with Lisa Schlossberg. She just has so many beautiful insights when it comes to food. All right, second thing I am releasing are expectations of outcomes. I'm trying to release this one. This one's really hard, and I know a lot of us struggle with this. We, by nature, just have expectations of how we want things to go, especially when you get a big, beautiful, creative idea. Of course, you have expectations of how you want things to go. But if you reference Bashar's formula, and I'm not going to get into who Bashar is, but that was one of my intentions for this year, a big proponent of just manifesting in general, and his formula for like living your most aligning life is releasing outcomes and expectations. So how am I releasing that? Whew, it's tough. It's tough. I still struggle with it. So know that if you still struggle with releasing these things, there's nothing wrong with you. One of my favorite sayings, there's nothing wrong with you. I think it's just important to be aware of when you're holding on so tightly to an outcome. Like, this has to be the way. There's so much power in just like releasing it to the universe, to God, to your angels, to your guides, whatever you want to say, and be like, give me the highest and the best. I'm going to let life flow through me. I'm going to do what feels aligning to me, what excites me, what I'm passionate about, and I'm going to release the rest. Like, breathe and meditate into that one. It feels so good. Maybe you need some reminders. Post it on your computer. I release the outcome. I don't need to know the outcome. I don't need to know what's going to happen next year, 5 years, 10 years. That would truly take the fun out of it. I remind myself of that a lot. It would truly take the fun out of life if you knew what was going to happen. Release the need to know. And that is something I am definitely still working on over here. Third thing I'm releasing in the Scorpio season, or quitting in the Scorpio season, is guilt or shame, especially when it comes to things in the past. Reference one of the first videos I had in vlogtober, ghosts of past versions of myself that I felt like were haunting me. I'm not going to get into that topic because I have a whole video on it. But even now, sometimes I feel guilt or shame over like these beautiful things that I have in my life. And that just like serves no one. Me feeling guilty about having a beautiful life and having so many things that I am so grateful for doesn't help other people like get more of that too. Me feeling guilty doesn't really serve anyone. Yes, it's beautiful to be aware that like there are people that don't have the things that we have, and we can help them if that feels aligning. But feeling guilty about it just is not serving me. And I hope this is coming across the way that I want it to. I just feel like I can spend more time feeling guilty about having these beautiful things than enjoying the beautiful things. And that's such a trap I fall into. I manifest something that I've been desiring for so long, and then I don't enjoy it because it's like, okay, on to the next thing. Or like, oh, other people don't have this. I want everyone to have this experience. Maybe everyone doesn't want to have the experience that you're having because it's your life. It's unique to you and your desires. So it's okay to release that guilt or shame you may feel about creating a beautiful life. I just know that can hold a lot of us back from creating the things we want and going after the things we want, as we feel guilt or shame about having them. You have those desires for a reason. It's not random. What you are desiring needs to be created in this world, and you are the perfect person to create that thing. So don't feel guilty about going after things that are going to make your life so beautiful and rich, and things that you desire. Fourth thing I am quitting or releasing in the Scorpio season is sneaky perfectionism. I never identified as a perfectionist. I'm not a type A person. I can be a little sloppy and messy. So I guess in that way, I was like, I'm not a perfectionist. Lindsay had a very skewed version of perfectionism. It doesn't mean you're a type A neat freak. Perfectionism can show up in such sneaky ways. Like, how many of us self-sabotage because we don't want to do this thing unless we're the best at it? Unless I'm the best podcaster or YouTuber or basketball player, I'm not going to do it, right? Like, that can be such a common mind story for us. And what about doing things just because they bring you joy? That always comes back to that for me. And I usually work past it because I have to do the things that feel aligning to me. Like it is such a deep need in my soul. Like I can't hold it back. I have to create these videos and create podcasts. Like it just sets my soul on fire. And I feel like a lot of times we can talk ourselves out of those desires because we're like, well, unless I'm the best at it, unless I'm super successful, I'm not going to do it. How about doing things just because they bring you joy? Fifth thing I'm releasing in the Scorpio season, and I got this from my girl Alina Aligned. I love her YouTube channel. She talks all about how we can align with the new moons and full moons of each zodiac season. Anyway, she was talking about how she doesn't want to be the person to tell herself no. And I was like, whoa, how many times am I the one telling myself no? How many times am I the one holding myself back? So I'm like, I can't do that. I don't have time for that. I don't have the skills for that. I don't have the means for that. Let someone else tell you no, which I know is a scary idea, seeking the no. That also reminds me of a podcast episode I did with Eleanor Trier, where she had an experiment to see how many no's she could get. And it was actually a lot harder than she thought because people were telling her yes that she thought would tell her no. So just don't be the one to tell yourself no. Let someone else tell you no. And I think those no's will be harder to get than you think. And that can feel so scary and vulnerable, but there's so much we learn from putting ourselves out there and failing. I just keep talking about all the videos I've already recorded, but reference the failure video I filmed a few months ago. There's so much beauty in going after the things you want and either succeeding at them, which is different for every single one of us, that definition of success, or again, that definition of failure. You're going to learn so much either way, but don't be the one to tell yourself no. Let someone else tell you no. So that is what I'm releasing again in the Scorpio season. I am quitting telling myself no. The last thing I am quitting or releasing in the Scorpio season is anger, and not anger altogether because we are human. We have the broad spectrum of emotions, and anger isn't a necessarily negative thing unless you're expressing it in a harmful way or projecting it on someone else. But I've just felt a lot of anger building up inside of myself this past year, like anger, resentment towards how hard it is for me to be present or to embody all the things I talk about on my podcast, Alignment Adventures. And that's not an energy that's helping me. And a lot of anger for things that I cannot control. So it's just coming back to the basics of focusing on what I can control, releasing that perfectionism that I have to be present all the time or remember every single lesson that I've learned. It's just a continual evolution and deepening of these lessons. So I hope that makes sense. I'm just releasing this anger and resentment I have building up towards showing up how I think I should be showing up and just showing up as the Lindsay I am in this present moment. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know down in the comments if you resonated with any of these things that I'm quitting or releasing in the Scorpio season. Let me know some things that you're releasing in the Scorpio season. Subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss any future videos. We still have some more coming up as we finish out the best month of the year. Like this video if you enjoyed it. I'm sending you all so much love, all the magical, spooky, beautiful vibes in the Scorpio season, and I will see you in the next Vlogtober video.